Uncle Chris in the swather to do our annual swathing video.
Except that we have heavy wheat right here.
Yeah.
Unlike my skinny wheat.
It's doing so good. The swaths are gigantic.
Maybe they're like Norwegian wheat, big heads with nothing in them. That's a Norwegian joke.
Oh my goodness.
Danes get to say Norwegian jokes.
Yes, because we are Danish.
Yes.
Good point there. You're driving the MacDon swather, which is all by hand.
Yes, it is. I get more acres because I get to go weaving.
These are probably my favorite videos to film each year in the swather with you. We always have the best chats about everything.
I would think people can only watch so much harvest, but that must not be true.
There is quite a lot of harvest happening, so thank you to everyone's patience who continues to view the harvest videos.
See how it's starting to lay on one direction?
And this is due to the bug we have called sawfly, right?
Right. But because the crop's so thick, it sort of supports itself a little bit. It hasn't gotten totally on the ground. But if you leave long enough, it will. Farther up the field, it is pretty flat. Really, really flat, as a matter of fact.
And that's the whole purpose of the swather, is to be able to lay it down before it's really unharvestable.
Right. We used to have fingers that we put on headers that would slide on the ground and try to lift it up for the cutter bar. And they were real difficult to use because the springs, you would hit a rock and the springs would break or if they'd bend. See how much farther down it is right here?
Yeah, it's practically laying down.
I'm gonna put that reel down. Oops.
Do you think you have a tooth missing here?
No, that's
It's just the wheat laying down?
yeah.
So this is your second pass in this field?
Yes. Put that reel a little bit farther forward and put the reel down. See how it's leaning? It would be better if I was going the other direction. For the first two passes I have to, for the combines we have to go round if we can. But see how you can see the difference?
Yeah.
How it's almost getting flat? If it was much flatter, I'd have to go the other direction to get underneath it. And still,
and even right here.
Even right there, I didn't get it.
And that's a very big loss on the crop.
I'll have to go see if I can go even lower there.
Yeah, that's really helped.
Yeah.
We're talking about how my uncle would not swath, but just use the big headers and cut backwards towards the wheat laying down, towards the heads.
Yeah. But then he has to roll down the field and do it again. You know?
Yeah. So you take just the same amount of time, really.
Well, no, you take, because half the time you're driving, because you'd be driving, because you aren't cutting back.
Yeah.
You're just driving back.
And you're probably hurting your header as well a bit more, having to dig it into the ground.
Well, they run on the ground anyway, but I am going real low with the thing, and that's why I'm going slow. Low and fast, you break things when you hit rocks.
And it's also really hard to tell because it's completely covered in front of us.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the sawfly really attacks one part of the field more than the rest.
I don't know if that's the case. I think it may be just that it just happened to be a little bit farther along and fell down, or that could be true though, because the outside ground used to always be worse, and then the inside wouldn't be very bad. But years ago, now they're about all the way through, you can see though.
Now what is this on the window? Are these sawflies?
Well, they really aren't. We said that in a video one time, and I got corrected on that.
Yes, we did.
Yes, so I think they're Hessian flies, which is a different thing. Because at this stage of the year, sawflies have already flown the coop, so to speak. So I got corrected. So, and the guy was right. He says if you're going to put out information, you should have the right information.
Yes. Now we have two swathers this year. How do you feel about our second John Deere compared to the MacDon?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can see out of it as good because it has big posts in the corners.
Okay.
See, and this doesn't have any posts in the corners, so you can see the whole field.
That is quite nice.
I like that better. I haven't ran it very much, so I don't know how to run the controls. I guess the guy we have running it, Jim Leishman, he really likes it because it has GPS. It steers itself, so then he can pay attention to the header height instead of paying attention to steering. So
pretty fancy. Are you happy to not be in the swather as much this year?
Absolutely.
Now, what would your favorite harvest job be?
I don't like harvest.
Driving in your pickup, right?
Yes, my pickup. That's my favorite harvest job.
Do you like seeding more?
I always like seeding better, yeah.
Darcy says the same thing as well.
He says he likes seeding better?
Yeah, because it's calmer.
Yeah. See, this is really low, but we're getting, you look behind, we're getting that.
And it's laying flat on the ground.
I must have the reel just right.
And that doesn't happen very often.
No. Well, I have it extended quite far. And if you have it real far, you have to, sometimes it picks up rocks and throws them right in. So you have to run the reel maybe a little bit slower.
Ah, that makes sense.
Otherwise it flips rocks into the windrow and then the combines eat them. See, over there I didn't get quite
as low.
Quite as low, and it's flatter. We'll see how we do now.
Yeah, and I just saw a rock there too.
Yeah.
There was a massive rock the other day that I saw near the swath combining, which I'm sure was not great for the swather, but my combine drove right over it.
When we go back the other direction, we won't have any trouble because it'll be underneath it.
Yeah, and typically it looks like it's just laying one way in the field.
Yeah, because that's the way wind direction.
Ah, I never thought of it that way.
It always lays down the prevailing wind.
So basically,
our prevailing wind goes from south to north, sort of west to east, you know. So, and that's why it's laying that way. The wind usually blows that direction.
So basically, the sawfly just hollows out the wheat, and it's not strong enough to be able to withstand the wind. Mm-hmm. Ah, that makes sense.
The larva just eats up down through the wheat, and then it makes a little cut, and it's just like standing there. So if you would walk through this, your legs would be just covered with wheat.
Now, do you ever find that the wind alone can lay down the crop? Because here in Montana we have super high winds.
No, not usually. If you leave it in the field a long time, it'll depending on how heavy, a real heavy crop will lay down. Some varieties are worse than others. Weak straw is sometimes a sign of nutrient deficiency.
Oh, interesting.
So if you have a consistent problem, maybe you might have a problem with your fertilization program.
Now, could that be a multitude of deficiencies, or is it really one predominantly that's telling you?
Oh, I don't know. I think potash is one of them.
Okay.
That strengthens straw.
When did you first learn how to drive swather?
When I bought it.
Oh, true, because we never used to swath in the old days.
Yeah, I bought it and just went out and started working on it. I didn't know anything about it.
Did you create your own patterns, or how did you decide which way to go?
Oh, I don't know. All I know, I had some learning curve.
Yeah, so your header height is 1. Wow.
Normally I go at 1.5 to 2. 2 is my preferred height.
And that's inches?
Not really. It's just a scale
of something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not really an inch per se.
So now you've got to pick up your header to do a turn?
Yep. We used to have a guy that used to just whip it around. He went a lot faster than I did always, but I don't like to do that.
Was that John Boy?
John Boy used to do that, just whip it around as fast as you could go.
You like to go easier on it.
Get straight. I wasn't as good a driver as he was that way, I don't think. So I'm at 1.5. See, and you're under it a little bit, so it's going to be pick it up better.
I went for a ride with John Boy in the swather once too.
And he would go 5.5, 6, 7 miles an hour, and I go about, if on a real good field, I'll go 3.5 to 4 maybe.
And you're going 2.8 right now, right?
3 now, yeah, 2.8. Just because it's down a lot. Now I'm going to lift it up to 2 and see what it does. See, things are underneath it. Well, 1.5.
Still doing real well.
Yeah,
it's interesting how much a difference that direction makes.
And you can go a little bit faster. I'm going to put it back down there. See, and the farther in the field, it's going to get better because they start at the edge of the field, or it starts falling at the edge of the field, I think, maybe because the wind gets at it more. You know, the wind gets at it on the edge, and inside it can't get at it as much. Now, if you were in a combine, you'd have to cut this one way and then drive backwards without cutting. Well, combines run better. You don't have near as many breakdowns, picking up swaths as you do straight cutting.
Yeah.
We don't have as many combine problems as we used to have straight cutting.
Because I've gotten a lot of questions as to why is this economical to run another tractor through the field with fuel, I guess, and then also the maintenance of it.
Just because you can't
pick it up.
You can't pick it up sometimes.
And also the ability
you have to cut in one direction and roll back. Where if you get a little bit ahead of it, like we have mostly, we haven't had much of this. If we had cut this 3 or 4 days earlier, it'd probably make a big difference. That rain put it down quite a bit, I think. That little bit of shower we had yesterday.
Oh yeah.
It was just enough to put quite a bit down. Wind and a little bit, gets wet and heavy.
And even if you lay your head on the ground like we're doing, you still don't get all of it. So that loss of yield enough might pay for the swather.
And the swather takes all the abuse, the rocks, the bouncing over the rocks and things. So that's why you have less
And that's a good
problems.
thing too, because the swather only has to lay down the crop. There's no insides to this machine, whereas you don't want a rock or something going into your header.
Right.
How do you know how to do the coulees? That I always look at it combine and go, I don't know how Uncle Chris did this.
Well, I used to try to do them across them, but I can't do that very well. I can't combine across coulees very easy either. So
I feel you there.
it's just, if it's steep, you have to do it because it's washed out a little bit. One over there where Jim is cutting now, I went across them one year, and about halfway through I changed my mind. That's when your father was insisting that we go round and round. I changed my mind about going across the coulee, and I changed my mind about going round and round.
That's a very good point. We only go back and forth now.
And it just seems to work really good. It's a lot rougher going round and round too, because you're going against the furrows all the time, because we seed back and forth now.
That's a good point.
We used to seed round and round.
Really?
Yeah, we always went round and round and did the corners.
I guess that's true when you never used to have the auto steer.
Yeah, we did. We used to seed round and round. We get auto steer. Everyone changed until once they got auto steer, they changed that.
When I was attempting to do seeding, I don't know how you did the manual, because it's so difficult. You always have to be in your mirror. Am I not skipping? You probably see my field would have a bunch of little spots of no weed.
Well, I don't know. I used to seed. Darcy would quit, and I used to get on to run a couple hours. I didn't know how to set the auto steer, so about the first round it would go off. So I would just go ahead and seed, because
Yeah.
he would get so upset with me because all his straight lines would be wavy when he got there in the morning.
That's pretty funny.
Because I didn't know how to set it.
No, that technology is hard.
I have finally figured it out, I think. But I still have, once in a while, it gives me pause. Just because it's not steering for me doesn't mean I have to quit seeding, I don't think.
Very good point. You do it the old school way, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There, I'm going to go over here and do this first round here.
Does it hurt the swaths less to drive over them in the swather than the combine?
Oh, I don't know, but you just can't do it otherwise. You have to get to where you're going. See where that washout is? It's just easier on the combine if you aren't going across everything.
What's that random post in the middle of the field?
It's where a missile cable goes. It's
Oh.
telling them where our nuclear missile cable goes. They have underground cables over to the control sites.
Okay.
And that's, we have a missile down the road.
These swaths are just huge.
I know, they're humongous. You can barely fit through there.
How many bushels per acre would you guess this is?
I'm not going to guess. I have no idea. It may be Norwegian wheat, big heads with nothing in it.
I remember we had that one year, probably quite a few.
Well, we had frost this spring, and sometimes when you get a frost, it got down to 16 or 17 degrees 3 or 4 nights in a row this spring, and that sometimes affects the yield.
Yeah,
You don't know you don't really know the damage until harvest. There's no way of ascertaining that until you get to harvest.
Have we done any of the calculations on the other fields to see what they've gotten?
I have not done any calculation.
Sometimes wish we would.
Calibrate.
Exactly.
I wish we would take the time to calibrate the combine, but we don't do that. Mark Mark never does that. So
It'd be so helpful, especially because he's always reading those numbers anyway, even though they mean nothing.
yeah. So,
But I guess it's true, it is a benchmark of some sort, but you just don't know what it is.
but if he would cut, all you have to do is cut one combine full of wheat and dump it in a truck and take it to the elevator and weigh it, and then you tell the combine how much was in that truck, and then the combine knows how much it cut.
I wouldn't know how to input that though, but that's really a simple
I don't
process.
know how to input it either. So, but if you did it, you'd learn.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to learn for stuff like that. So you're kind of cutting out a coulee right now?
Yes.
Those things we hit are those rocks?
No, that's that bouncing when I raise, and it's the hydraulics up and down when I putting the header in.
Okay.
Although I did hit a big rock there. See how big that rock is? Or is that a weed?
That's a weed.
Oh, good. You see, there are rocks in the bottom of the coulee here. And that's
Yeah.
why you have to go real slow. It'll bounce over a lot of rocks if you're going slow. It has those skid plates underneath, those plastic neoprene skid plates.
Okay.
The first year I had it, it didn't have those. It just beat the header to daylights.
So those are helpful.
They are. It does. It's really helpful. I didn't realize how helpful it was until I used it the first year without them.
Do you ever watch the swathing videos?
Usually no. Although I'm subscribed to your channel, it doesn't give me notifications when you put new ones on.
We'll have to get you
I don't know why.
to press the notification bell. And everyone watching, if you've got notifications, turn them on.
Now I don't know how I'm going to do this little piece up here. I probably should have did a first round all the way around.
Right now you're getting to see in the mind of the swather what creativity is going to happen next.
Yeah. I'll probably just leave a little bit of wheat for the birds. They need something to eat too.
That's also something. What kind of birds are common to our area?
Ringtail pheasants, and then there's what they call huns. There's more huns than ringtail pheasants. I don't know why. They must just do better.
Really? Do the pheasants eat wheat?
Yeah, they eat wheat.
I've seen quite a few babies around.
Yeah, it's unusual. Usually they're pretty small too. They're maybe a couple weeks old. A little bit slow on the controls because I haven't been on this as many hours this year as I normally do. I might have to leave that little bit. Right. What I'm going to do is when I come back around one time, I'll come across that coulee, and then it'll be just a little tail end there.
All these power lines to have to go around are quite the obstacle too. And to not run into the ditch, it's everything going on.
There's lots of rocks along the ditch too, and this spring I was going to send the little tractor up to pick all the rocks. Not so much this side of the coop thing, but the other side there's some great big monster ones I know, and I was going to pick them up along the road, but we didn't get around to it.
It's always how it is.
Yeah. I like to stay a little bit farther away from the road when I seed, but everyone else goes right up to them. The reason they do, because if you stay farther away, then you have a weed patch there. There's a beautiful Canada thistle right there.
It is flowering.
There's a bull thistle I like. It's a big Brussels. It's sort of I think it's Scotland's national flower. That big purple.
Really? I
thistle.
didn't know that.
It's beautiful. I'm not going to go around this one. I'm just going to go through it. But it is washed out quite a little bit. See how much it washed out? We might be stuck.
Oh no.
Look, we're all stuck.
That is a pretty big ditch.
Yeah, I'm going to have to cut that out too.
Actually,
We left out and didn't get stuck.
you know what? I think I've done disking in this field before. I know that exact ditch.
Yes, probably. We're just going to cut this out too, because I don't want the combines going through that.
I remember it now. There's two ditches, one there and one here.
Yeah.
Oh, it almost seems like a water hole.
It's hard on the combines going across those too. The header goes way down. We usually try to disc them in, fill it in with dirt by disc it.
Yeah, but even the disc, sometimes it doesn't fully get flattened.
Well, you just
helps,
have to work at it. You just have to know how to do that a little bit.
I actually like disking. You can't mess it up too much.
Well, it's not good for the soil structure.
Yeah, that is a good point.
And if you've disked, you've already messed up with your chem follow.
Oops.
Yeah.
Our operation's primarily no-till as much as we can. Occasionally we'll disc, but not very often.
Yeah.
But we started that more out of necessity to keep moisture in the soil, right? And because of the wind. Now back around.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
These are big windrows. Look how big they are. Well, we hope it goes high numbers. There's no guarantee, actually.
Yeah, for sure. We're lucky we didn't get hailed out. There was hail in the area, right?
Really, really bad hail. I hadn't seen a hail. It literally took the crop and beat it into the ground.
Really?
It looked just like the stubble, only worse. There wasn't as much crop residue. I mean, I haven't seen a hailstorm that bad in years.
Wow.
Probably 30 years, 40 years.
So that would greatly affect a lot of farmers in our area. That makes those years really tough to survive as a family farm.
Yeah.
I remember Grandpa saying great-grandpa was having really bad years and he went to the bank with his bags packed and thought he'd have to stop farming. But they gave him a loan and he had a good crop the following year. So I guess that's why we're here
sent
today.
him back and said, no, I think he had flats that year and he had a really good crop on it. But he was all packed, his bags was all packed and he was ready to go.
Yes, he was.
And the homestead guy, Chris, why don't you stay and try it another year? And so that's how much luck actually plays, and it's skill and hard work and a lot of luck in farming always.
Yes, you really gamble with the weather.
Now I'm going to turn all the way around and go back and forth, and then the combine people wonder, what's he doing and why did he do it that way?
Now that I'm in Swather, I'll just be like, oh, this is a fun adventure. Where are we headed next with the row?
We had to do this same way last time I cut this. Now I remember about it because it was washed out too. I wanted to set this before Jeff comes tomorrow because I wanted to know how low he had to be. He was been running it at 2 and I'm going to make him run it at 1.5 in this field.
And to get the hard part done.
Yeah.
Is Jeff pretty good at swathing?
Yeah, he's been real good, and I think he likes it, which is good. He's a pretty good employee. He did all the tile work in the house too.
Really?
He did.
You know, I still have to look at that. I haven't seen it yet.
You were in the house.
I know, but I haven't been in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen, right?
Oh, well, I understand. You don't know how to do anything in a kitchen.
Wow, thank you for fully outing me there, Uncle Chris.
Do you know how to?
Very kind.
You know what you do with washing machines?
Oh, and I noticed I was trying to figure out what was different. You painted as well.
I did. I would choose a not such a brilliant color.
No, it is quite bright, but it's nice.
It's rather startling, actually. I like color. I'm not a big cream and white fan. I like cream and white, but
it's better than white.
I just like color. Life is too bland to be all vanilla.
We're going every which direction here.
Normally one combine gets in this little piece and the others just stay out of it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's the best way to do it. It's almost like cutting out the little piece on the spool section.
Right. Now, am I going to be wide enough to do the whole thing? Yeah, I am.
You're pretty skilled at this to get unstuck that fast.
Oh, I just lucked out.
No, but that was real good. I was so worried once we hit that.
I thought we were worried too. We were going to have to get your dad to come with his chain and come pull it back.
Got real lucky then.
I'm going to go down and start at the side down there.
Even the other day I felt so bad that you did the combining. You finished the entire field by yourself at night.
What one?
The...
Jim and I, yeah. We took our nap. And then we went back and combined. And then when we got done there,
You should have called me up. You don't have to be doing all of that.
You were getting your beauty sleep like the Princess and the Pea. That's a Danish fairy tale too, I think.
Is it really?
I think it's a Grimm's fairy tale.
I didn't know that.
And they're Danish.
It's so cool watching how it comes through and then just leaves a big row out the back.
Yeah, it's sort of fun actually, that way.
Has Grandpa ever run swather?
I can't say that, because they used to have a pull type swather,
Really? I didn't
They
even
used
know
to have
that
a pull-type
existed.
combine.
I knew about those.
They had a great big Caterpillar pull-type combine. And
Wonder if we have pictures of that.
I don't think so. Well, actually, there might be an old movie somewhere around of it, and that's what that shed was built for. 2 combines. There's 4 stalls, 2 small ones for the headers,
Really?
and 2 tall ones for the combine.
I didn't know that. How does a pull-type swather even work? Don't you have to drive on the wheat before you can
Yeah,
swath?
well, you have to drive on the edge of the field. So, and then sometimes they had a self-propelled combine that open the field up for the pull-type, you know, the first round. So then the tractor would have someplace to drive. But other than that, they just drove on the edge of the field. There's a guy who has a pull-type swather going to Great Falls, I noticed, Miss White's. And
Really?
he was pulling it with, he was running it with his 7520.
No way.
That tractor that's over in the yard, Mark's yard, that's broke down.
Yeah. That bit like the old snowplow one? The bigger one?
No, it's, well, it does have a snowplow on it too, yeah. This broke down snowplow one. We have 2 semi-broke down snowplow tractors. I don't think it's anything very, very serious either. I think it's just a pin in the front differential, but we haven't taken it apart to fix it yet. Well, we could just take the axle apart and put the pin in and it worked, but I don't know what we'd use for it.
Could always use another tractor. Do we ever grow flax anymore?
I grew flax twice, right by the house.
Really? Did it do well?
I don't really think it did very well, but I seeded it last. You know, all the things that if you're going to do something, you expect success. It was sort of an afterthought, and I seeded it very, very last when we got done with everything. But it was pretty because the bloom's pretty. You know, it has that pretty blue flat.
Oh, that's
flower.
nice then.
And I have pictures of it. I think
Probably
they're
did
on
better
my
than the
phone.
corn though.
Actually, I don't. The corn did remarkably well for dry land corn.
Really?
Yeah.
What did it get?
Oh, I think, well, not very much for corn yield, but for dry land corn in Montana, it went about 50 bushels an acre.
Oh, that's
And
not bad.
that's a recrop. I mean, that's a continuous, it's not a summer follow crop, so I didn't think that was so bad.
Does corn go for more than wheat?
No, wheat's usually a thing, but a good corn crop, they get 300-400 bushel an acre in corn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In Indiana and Iowa and things. See, I have that down at 1.5, and I have the reel farther forward and very flat, and we're getting 99% of it. Well, we are getting it. We're getting all of it, as a matter of fact.
Well, thank you so much for taking me in the swather, Uncle Chris. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
My phone died, so my dad lent me his. All right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Okay, bye.
Bye.